Okay, so today we're going to start our discussion on friction. So friction is the force that two surfaces exert on each other when they rub against each other. So they talked about that in Bill Nye. When he rubbed his hands together, you created heat. So that's a result of friction. There are four basic types of friction. There's sliding friction, rolling friction, fluid friction, and static friction. And we're going to go into those in a little bit more detail in a minute. But there are two factors that affect the friction between objects. The types of surfaces involved. So a carpet's going to have more friction than, say, ice will. Or how hard the objects are pressed together. So if I put a weight on top of a book, it's going to be pressed firmer to the table, and it's going to be harder to move, and there's going to be more friction force in between the table and the book. And so without friction, objects will not stop once they begin moving. So our first type of friction is sliding friction. And sliding friction occurs when two solid surfaces slide over each other. So my major example is a penguin sliding down an ice hill, or curling, or a slide that you see at any park. The second type is rolling friction. And rolling friction occurs when an object rolls across a surface. So a golf ball across a putting green, or a bowling ball down a bowling lane. And rolling friction is much easier to overcome than sliding friction. That's going to be important for you to remember later. Third type is fluid friction. So fluid friction occurs when a solid object moves through a fluid. So you can think of swimming, so your hands are moving through the water, or you can think of being in an airplane where the airplane is actually going through air, and air is considered a fluid. And once again, fluid friction, much easier to overcome than sliding friction. The last type of friction we have is static friction. And static friction occurs between objects that are not moving. It's the force that keeps objects from moving. So if I'm going to move my mouse, I have to overcome static friction. But that also now creates sliding friction. And that's the end.